start the live YouTube stream. George, I think we're good to go.
All right, thanks, Joey. Yeah, it's now 3 o'clock, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So welcome to the zoning administrator meeting of May 29th, 2024 via teleconference. My name is George Schroeder, and I'm the zoning administrator for this hearing. Just want to note the city strongly denounces hate speech and does not tolerate disruptive behavior in our meetings. Sunnyvale prides itself on the rich diversity of our residents, and we're committed to creating a culture of belonging where members of our diverse community feel included, safe, and respected. So we have 2 agenda items today, and just want to go over a few quick procedures. During the meeting, remote participants will remain muted when not speaking. If remote participants have a question or comment, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or dial *9 on a telephone. Speakers will be called one at a time. First, I'll ask the project planner to provide me with an update or a presentation. I'll then invite the applicant to speak on the item, and then I'll open up the public hearing to anyone who would like to speak on the project. After I close the public hearing, I'll then consider all comments and make a ruling. And my decision can be appealed within 15 calendar days to the Plan Commission. Okay, so let's get started with the first agenda item. This is a use permit to allow the removal of an unpermitted chain link fence and replacement with an 8-foot tall steel picket fence along the front yards, and a variance to allow a new rolling parking gate within a driveway vision triangle. This is at 904 Waddell Court. File number is PLNG 2023-0158, and the project planner is Cindy Hom. Cindy, do you have any comments or updates since the staff report?
Hi, thank you. I do have a minor correction for the legal ad. It was noted as 904 Waddell Drive instead of Court, and then also just a correction to the vision corner triangle that was noted. It should be driveway vision triangle. Those are only 2 corrections.
Okay, great. So Cindy, I just had a couple of questions on this project. So I take it the traffic division reviewed the encroachment into the vision triangle for the driveway?
Correct. This the project was reviewed with DPW and also traffic.
Okay, and they don't have any concerns about encroaching in there?
No, we did review the applicant's justifications. We also felt that, the driveway is approximately 135 feet from the Waddell Drive and Waddell Court intersection, so there'd be sufficient capacity to prevent any backing up of traffic.
Okay. And I see the report notes that there would be a parking deficiency if the fence and the gate was outside of the vision triangle. Do you know how many spaces that we're talking about?
Again, the architect will probably have to confirm, but just based on the site plan, it would look like it would lose 2 to 3 parking spaces.
Okay. Thanks, Cindy. I'll now turn it over to the applicant. And this is Studio G Architects. Is there a member of the applicant's team that would like to speak on the item? I see Sergio Costa. Mr. Costa, would you like to give us, do you have any presentation or updates you'd like to provide? Mr. Costa, this is your turn to speak.
Yeah, Mr. Costa, you'll have to unmute yourself to speak.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm not used to this. I'm having to zoom in through the web browser, and I'm not used to it as opposed to the app. Blame my IT team. Yeah, so thank you everyone for George and Cindy for going over that, and George for meeting with us today. Yeah, so there was the item that Cindy brought up on how many. I just wanted to confirm that number because I just finished kind of doing a new site layout of that. It would be approximately 3 to 4 stalls, depending. There's some minor things I'd have to dig into further, but yeah, if we had to push the existing fence back now, because of the ADA parking stalls, and we're trying to keep the ADA parking stalls as close as possible to the front entrance, we would lose about 3 to 4 parking stalls. And due to the fact further down along the length of the building, there's some man doors that are being used for egress, and just the way it would lay out, we would need to maintain clearance for egress at those doors. So yeah, 3 to 4 stalls. So we'd bring our total. Currently, we're at a total of 29 parking stalls. That would bring us down to about 26 to 25.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you mentioned something about presenting something new. I could bring up the previous justifications we brought up, but we feel when the project was, when the existing building, when my client purchased the property, had kind of a ratty, like a 6 foot tall chain link fence that had the wood slat infills or the plastic slat infills. So we feel now the new they weren't aware that there would be an issue, that existing fence had already been in the vision triangle. So they just went ahead and replaced it with a brand new fence. And due to some concerns with the unhoused population and some incidents prior to with a truck being stolen, they had decided to go ahead and go for a larger, kind of a more secure fence than the previous 6 foot tall fence, chain link fence. So they went ahead with a larger 8 foot tall kind of metal fence that looked better in their opinion. And then on top of that, aside from, there's that concern of why they kind of went through and thought it would be okay. They didn't kind of envision that that the existing fence had been in just within the edge of the corner of the vision triangle there, driveway triangle. The fence that's currently installed is mostly open. It's about 75% open versus 25% solid. So it still affords a very good view. And in my variance justification document I had originally forwarded along for this request, and I provided a number of photos, and you can see in the photos in that exhibit that very clearly the oncoming cars that, if the main intent of these vision triangles is to afford views of vehicles entering and leaving on both, in both directions, that this fence is still within the spirit of that, of the intention of why we have these vision triangles. And the concern, and that's for vision. And then there's no pedestrian right of way currently at that location. So we would also not be presenting any undue danger to pedestrians. That
Okay.
since there is.
Okay, yeah, just a few follow-up questions I have. So it looks like the business hours proposed are 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then the fence, the gates will be open during that time.
Correct.
Okay, and then how would fire trucks and solid waste be accessing that outside these hours?
So the gate can be overridden. There's a Knox box on the property near the front door,
Okay.
clearly visible, mounted to the building. The key in there will go ahead and that key will override the gate. That's for that. So that's for fire. So waste, waste does not have access to override the gate. When that was a comment that was brought up earlier on in our planning submission, and I went over with sanitary on that. And they at first they had questions on what would happen if the truck pulled up and the gate was closed. We explained to them that it's open during business hours, which kind of overlaps with waste time on when collection would normally happen. And she didn't realize that this property had already been, since this fence was already in place, this property had already been actively being served by sanitary. And there had been no reports of, waste vehicles being locked out or having to be called in, calling in for the gate to be opened. So she was okay with, continuing this arrangement. Apparently I guess it wasn't the prior owner, but the prior tenant, Rabbit Automation, I believe. Apparently they had issues when they had their old chain link fence with a rolling gate. Sanitary had a number of issues with them not having their gate open and strange business hours, and that's why she had a concern originally. But since the time my current client here has moved in with this larger fence, there hasn't been any access issues for sanitary.
Okay. I also see the owner is here. Is this Mr. Newman?
Yes, that's correct. How are you?
Good. Did you have any comments? I'll just if you just want to have any brief comments.
Yeah, one just correction to that. We do have a Knox box for the building and for fire department, but we followed code with the automatic gate that also comes with its own fire department access key. So it's all to code when it comes to fire.
Okay. And then for deliveries, are these expected during business hours, or do you anticipate any outside of these times?
I don't. I mean, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's been no other issues as far as access to this area outside of those hours are needed for quite some time.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to move on to the public hearing. I'm now going to open that. So if any members of the public are on the line, please provide your name for the record. And to participate, you can provide public comment by using the raise hand feature or dialing *9 on a telephone. Joey, do we have any members of the public?
George Dia here. It looks like we have one hand raised from Sergio Acosta. Should I go ahead and allow Sergio the floor to speak?
He's the applicant. He just spoke on it. But if there's any others.
No others.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and then make a ruling. Actually, before I do that, Mr. Costa, do you have any final comments you wanted to add?
No, I mean, yeah, I know. I just want to say, we understand that, there was maybe a slight oversight and that we should have checked whether the existing fence, shouldn't have assumed that the existing fence was in the vision triangle, but, the way the design works, like I mentioned earlier, I think it's still within the spirit of the reasons why we have these vision triangles, and that I think it's still, overall at the end of the day, the property itself has been bettered than it was previously, and while still maintaining, I think, the public welfare and safety concerns for all.
All right, thank you. So now I'll close the public hearing, make a ruling, and yeah, appreciate the comments, and I'm going to approve alternative one, approve the use permit and the variance with the recommended findings in attachment 2, and then the recommended conditions in attachment 3. I think this project improves the existing condition. It looks like a minor encroachment into the vision triangles, and there's no safety concerns. And then there'll be access by emergency personnel if needed after hours. So that concludes this item, and my decision can be appealed within 15 calendar days to the Plan Commission. So now I'm going to move on to the second agenda item. And this is a special development permit to allow replacement of an existing 8-foot tall chain link fence with barbed wire, perimeter fence with a new 13-foot tall chain link with barbed wire, an installation of a new 8-foot tall parking lot fencing and gates on the Lockheed Martin parcel, and installation of a new 13-foot tall chain link with barbed wire fence along the rear property line at 1235 North Matilda. So this is at that address, and then 1111 Lockheed Martin Way. File number is PLNG 2023-0680. Cindy, you're also the project planner. Any updates or comments you have on this? Cindy, you're muted.
Sorry, staff has no changes to the staff report, but do want to note that the south perimeter fencing was approved with a building permit, and it's 2015 5500. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Cindy. And then I understand there was a master use permit that applied to the Lockheed property, and that's expired from what I understand. Was there any mention of barbed wire in that master use permit?
So they did have some provisions in regards to fencing and perimeter safety. As part of the master use permit approval, there is a controlled access perimeter plan that should have been approved in conjunction with the master use permit. So I'm assuming that is part of that plan. But again, these I guess archived documents are still
Sure.
paper trail. So
Got it.
yeah, thanks.
Okay, and then so the proposed fencing style would match the existing that's on Fifth Avenue right now?
That is correct, and that was approved with a city permit.
Got it. Okay, and then the new fencing on the opposite side on First Avenue, is that kind of in the same location as the existing fence?
It is in the same location.
Okay, so it's, yeah, because I think the fencing on Fifth, it's like in front of the sidewalk, and then on First it's behind, so that's definitely better. Okay,
Right.
got it. And so now I'm going to move on to the applicants. Is that you, Mr. Hanna?
Yes, sir. That's me.
Okay,
I'm the
great.
architect of record.
Got it. Okay. Do you have any comments you'd like to provide on this?
Well, I was prepared to go through the set that was last submitted to the city in case anybody had any questions or comments about the project as a whole. I'm not sure how much we need to appeal to the neighborhood, that sort of thing, but certainly Cindy and I have gone back and forth many times. So a lot of this would be old news to her, but let me know if I can make anything more clear. I think everybody knows that the project's necessitated by the fact that the Navy has vacated NIROP, which is the adjacent property, and so that means that property is likely going to get sold to a developer, and so that exposes the whole east side of the Lockheed campus to potential security issues. So we need to meet the current security standards for fencing that the government is mandating, because Lockheed does top secret work with the government. And again, the intent is to identically match the style and height of what was installed along Fifth Avenue. And so we figured it'd be pretty straightforward project, but obviously because we're taller than 6 feet, we're beyond the allowable zoning for fencing.
Got it. Okay, and then is the federal government, are they driving the heights, like the 12-foot height with the 1 foot of barbed wire on top?
Yes, that's my understanding. We have Lockheed Security, resident security manager on the line too, if we need to add any detail to that. There's actually a manual called NISPOM, which outlines all the requirements that Lockheed has to meet to protect the government's trade secrets and so on and so forth via their security inside the campus and outside the campus. And within that is the height requirement, the barbed wire requirement. And that's as much as I can share.
Okay, thank you. And then are any other replacements planned in the future that you know of? Any fence replacements?
Well, not that I'm aware of. I guess possibly if the north parcel gets sold, that fencing would be upgraded, I would imagine, at some point in time.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mr. Hanna. So
Sure.
I'm now going to open up the public hearing. If any members would like to, of the public would like to speak on the project, please provide your name for the record. And to participate, you can provide comments by using the raise hand feature on Zoom or dialing *9 on a telephone. Joey, do we have any members of the public that would like to speak?
George, I don't see any hands raised, and we only have one attendee, which is Studio G architect Sergio. I think he spoke earlier. However, his hand is not raised, so I think we're good.
Okay, great. Mr. Hanna, any other final comments you have?
No, I think we're good. Again, just unless somebody needs additional background information, I think it's pretty well vetted. It's pretty straightforward project, this piece of it. So it kind of speaks for itself.
All right. So I'm now going to close the public hearing and make a ruling. I will approve alternative 1, approve the special development permit with the recommended findings in attachment 2, and then the recommended conditions in attachment 3. Yeah, this, the site is unique just given the national security concerns, so it does warrant a taller fence with some additional protection. It matches what was approved previously and would just secure the site if the Navy parcel is developed in the future. So my approval is valid my decision could be appealed within 15 calendar days. But that goes ahead and closes this item and also the hearing. So thank you everyone today for your attendance and participation. And we'll adjourn the meeting now at 3:22. All right.
Thanks
you,
for your
everyone.
time.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.